So Black Ops 7 has launched with 6 different SMGs, and the SMG category is made for super close range, and this is my favorite class of weapons to use inside any COD title. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to discuss which ones are the best. We're going to take a look at the recoil charts and their time to kill numbers to actually figure out which one you should be actually trying to unlock to get ahead of the game. Let's dive straight in with the recoil charts, and what you have seen on screen just now is me showing you the testing that we did actually go in game and test out all the recoil charts side by side for each one of these SMGs. So let's tidy this up a little bit. As you can see, you've got the Raiden, the RK9, the Razor, the Dravik, the Carbon, and the MPC. Now both the Carbon and the MPC have the most vertical recoil. You can see that as they go quite high up and almost off the chart when we're looking at the screenshots in game, but even here you can see that they have the most amount of vertical recoil. When it comes to the ones that are the most respectable, obviously you've got the Dravik there, the Razor as well, and the Raiden. They all have decent vertical control, but the Raiden does have that S-shaped curve, whereas the Razor and the Dravik are a bit more easier to control in terms of where they kick kind of left and to the right. They don't have nearly as much, right? And obviously this can be controlled a bit better with attachments. These are the base recoil charts, by the way. And then the RK9 is slightly different because this is a burst fire gun, so most of the shots do kind of go exactly where you're wanting them to. The only issue with this gun is that it does have burst fire and it does have a delay. Moving straight into the time to kill charts now, as you can see, you've got every single gun listed with their range 1, 2, 3, and 4, the rate of fire, mag size, bullet velocity, aim down sight time. Now, some of these other stats can be just as important for SMGs as time to kill, by the way, and we'll go on to talk about that in just a moment. But when it comes to each one of these ranges, we took the numbers for the damage from the in-game stats. So providing the in-game stats are actually indeed correct, then these numbers should be correct off the back of that as well. So now let's organize for the closest range time to kill. So this means the first damage range that you get with all of these SMGs, and as you can see, the Razor 9mm, the MPC, and the Raiden come out in the top 3. Now, the Razor and the MPC have the exact same time to kill, obviously have different damage values and rate of fires and things like that, but for the most part, they have the exact same time to kill at super close ranges, so they're both exactly tied. The Raiden does come out slightly slower than that, but again, that is not too bad as well. Now, organizing for the second damage range, now in some cases this can be just as important because when the damage does fall off within that first range, it's usually between 0 and 10 meters for most SMGs, and that means that a lot of your gunfights that take place after 10 meters, you're probably going to want a different SMG, right? So as you can see here, we've got the Raiden coming out on top now at 264 once again. We've got the Razor again at 300 milliseconds, and then the MPC does come out in third place. So it's almost as if these three SMGs are just kind of switching places each time. Now, taking a look at this third range, and realistically you should not be using your SMGs in this range unless you really have to. Most of the time you want to try and close that engagement range in multiplayer to try and make sure you're performing inside the gun's best damage range. But as you can see, we've got a 396 millisecond time to kill for the Raiden, and then it goes down to 400 milliseconds for the MPC, and the Razor follows by 420 milliseconds. And lastly, that fourth damage range where you should probably never use these SMGs, if I'm being completely honest with you. Some of the recoil patterns for some of these guns don't even allow for it anyway. So as you can see, the Raiden comes out on top again, the MPC, the Carbon, and then the Razor this time. And just quickly moving on from this, you can see that we've organized for aim down sight time now, and what this shows is the fastest ADS SMG in the game. Now, aim down sight time for SMGs is actually a very important stat because it allows you to get your gun up quickest. Obviously you can hip fire first and then ADS your gun, but regardless of which scenario you're talking about, you're still going to be aiming your gun down at some point, and you want to be able to get your shots off first. So as you can see, the MPC and the RK9 are the top two. The Raiden's not too far behind as well. So what does this all actually mean? So after we take into consideration the TTKs and recoil, I have two weapon options here, and the first is the Razor 9mm. Now this is the build, you can use the build code if you want, and as you can see with the LTI Mini, the H9 Precision Compensator, we've got the EAM Steady 90 Grip, the EAM pushback, and the recoil springs as well. So taking this gun into the firing range, and as you can see, this is a 10 meter distance. Most of your engagement ranges will be here. You can absolutely fry the enemy without having to really recoil control whatsoever. But you want to pull down and right on your stick to try and control this gun, and as you can see, even at 25 meters you could definitely get some easy kills. Where it starts to get a bit difficult is at this range here, which is around about the 50-meter mark, where you're going to be struggling to get a good amount of kills. But realistically, you shouldn't really be using your SMG past that range anyways, in my opinion. So even here you can see it's going to be a struggle to land your shots, but that's going to be the case with almost every single SMG in this game. So unless you fully kit this out to be a recoil build, then I don't really recommend doing that, because you lose the mobility in your SMG, which is kind of the whole point in using an SMG in the first place. Now, you can tack fire this at super long range if you really want to, but again, it's not going to be ideal. The next gun is the starting SMG, which is the Raiden 45K. Again, this gun's got good balance between having a decent recoil pattern as well as a really good time to kill as well, especially up close. Again, we've got the LTI Mini, Hawker stability, muzzle this time, and we've got the flow guard, we've got the EAM scatterline laser, and the recoil springs. Most of these attachments I recommend keeping. You maybe could swap out the laser for something else if you really want to, and optics are obviously optional as well, but the build code is on screen as you can see. Now, taking this one into the firing range as well, as you can see here, landing your shots even at this medium range with the Raiden is a little bit easier than even the previous weapon. But again, you're going to struggle to hit most of your shots at those super far ranges with any SMG. So even here at that kind of farther range, you can see the gun does wobble around quite a bit. So trying to manage the recoil of this gun is a little bit more difficult, because the recoil pattern of this is kind of like an S-shaped curve. So realistically, you're not going to be able to manage the recoil of this, especially on controller anyway. So for the most part, you want to keep your engagement ranges as close as you possibly can, because this gun does absolutely melt up close. And at those crazy long ranges, you kind of want to just start tap firing a bit, because it's the kind of only option you've got. So just to round off this video quickly, you can see that the Raiden and the Razor are probably the best two options in terms of getting that time to kill, but also not having a stupidly crazy recoil. And the only other option you've got here is the Dravik, which the Dravik has the best recoil control. So if you want to make sure you're landing every single shot, then take the Dravik instead. So that's probably like an honorable mention here, because like I said, that gun's got basically no recoil at all. But overall, all these guns are weird in terms of recoil, and that goes across the board for every single gun in this game. But we're going to be making guides on every single weapon class. We've already done assault rifles, so if you want to check out that video, you can. I'll leave it linked at the end of this one. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.